And one. Okay. Once again, here we are at the Portland Media Center for another episode of Between the Piers. Thank you to everyone who is tuning in from Maine and beyond. Your support means so much to me as I grow this podcast. It has been super hot here in Maine the past few days, which can only mean one thing. Tourist season is quickly approaching, if not already here. It's that beautiful time of year when winter is over and life returns to the streets of Portland once more, as well as all the cruise ships. I am truly honored to say that I am sitting in the same room as my next guest, let alone having them on my podcast. My next guest is Griffin William Sherry, an award-winning music artist and the former frontman of my personal favorite stomp and holler band. You call it a stomp and holler band, right?
Yeah, I think we originally called it a holler folk, so
okay.
Yeah, stomp and hollers where that came from.
Excellent. The Ghost of Paul Revere. Griffin, again, thank you so much for taking the time to be here.
Pleasure to be here, man.
How have things been, man?
Great. Busy. I mean, we've got a busy year, so I tour full-time with my band, and then we're also gearing up for the return of Ghostlands for the first time in 4 years, so the band's getting back together and we're dusting off the old tricorn hat, as it were, and trying to get the gears to work. So
that's so cool. Is that going to be down at Thompson's Point?
Sure is, yeah. And
nice.
we're pretty much sold out now. So I think there's like 200 tickets left to the show. So so it'll be 6,500 people. So.
6,500. Yeah, no, you're definitely going to sell that out. That is so exciting.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yep. So before we dive into the interview, I just want to tell you a funny story. I want to take a moment to tell you a funny story. The first time that I saw the Ghost of Paul Revere. So I discovered your music when I was at the University of Maine. Do you remember you did a show at the King Pine Room in Sugarloaf in, I think, February?
Yeah. Was it the one where people were passing out?
Probably. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, because we did a couple, but yeah, that one I remember that one a lot. That was who opened for us? Jason opened for us. That was a fun night.
Yes. So the story
could be Trick or Britches. I can't remember, but
it was a really good show. The story goes that I used to hike a lot in college. Like, I was super into the outdoors, super into hiking. And that day I had attempted to do the Bigelow mountain range, which is near Sugarloaf, without snowshoes. So that goes about as you'd expect it to go. I didn't have snowshoes. I made it all the way up to Cranberry Pond and started post-holing up to my thighs. Gave up. Turned around, went back down, and post-holed the entire way back to the Appalachian Trail crossing there. Slept in my car for a couple hours, and then went to the University of Maine has a cabin near Sugarloaf. And while I was there, my roommate, Sam, was like, "You got to go see this band, the Ghost of Paul Revere, the Ghost of Paul Revere." And I'm like, what's the Ghost of Paul Revere? And he's like, "I already bought you a ticket." And I'm still in my hiking clothes. Like, I probably smell like goodness knows what. And sure enough, he brought me to the King Pine Room, still in my hiking clothes. And I watched you. You started with Wild Child, and I was like, wow. And I've been a huge Ghost of Paul Revere fan ever since.
Well,
So and it's awesome to get a chance. Thank you. Oh my gosh, it's great to get a chance to speak with you.
Yeah.
So let's just start. Yeah. Where did your music career start? Where did your personal music journey begin?
I think in two wildly different places, because once I was able to make this a full-time job, we had been doing this for a little bit, which is cool. But I, as a normal kid, had piano lessons, did that kind of stuff, and my dad played guitar, so I owned a guitar. I bought my first electric guitar when I was like 7.
Whoa.
Had raised like $200, and my mom found somebody at her. She was a teacher in Portland here, so she had a parent who sold me a Stratocaster and a little tiny amp. And then I didn't want to practice, so I didn't really learn it. And so it wasn't until I started playing in bands. I started as a drummer in bands at like 12 and 13, and then kind of rediscovered the guitar because I bought an acoustic guitar at 15 and like began writing songs. Just like fell in love with it, and started writing. I mean, first like Max, Sean, and I had a band before Ghost when we were in high school, and I wrote a bunch of songs for that, and we recorded it, and then I went to college and still played in bands because I went to school for fine arts, and it was like a good escape for me to write music and get out of the studio. Called? So the first Max and Sean band was called Two Step.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it was Two Step, and then Belafontaine. I think we changed it to. The first one is a reference to Dave Matthews, which is a sign of the times. But the band in college I was in was a band called Steam Whistle Cartel, which is another crazy name.
That's an awesome name.
Which became like a mashup between two bars we liked in Toronto. But we were we were like a rock progressive fusion band that I just happened to play acoustic guitar for and sing and write songs for. But it was like me, two brothers on bass and drums, and then a ripping electric guitar player, a saxophone player, and a keyboardist from Denmark. And it was all over the place.
That's great. Were you in Toronto at the time?
I was going to art school about an hour south of Rochester. So we would drive to Toronto to see shows sometimes, or Buffalo, or
Got it.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of crazy. You have a fusion rock band, and then you got a saxophone guy.
Yeah. That was our first, like, that was the first band I started playing like shows with, and like it was like we'd play festivals, we'd play bars, we opened for Everclear once.
No way.
Hysterical, but yeah. But that was like college, so like that was me, and like I was also doing a lot of open mic solo acoustic and writing a lot of songs. So like there's a good amount of the early Ghost catalog that is from that time, because I was playing under Griffin Sherry and the Ghost of Paul Revere was like what I played under before the band formed.
Okay, very
and
cool.
then fast forward, Max and Sean started jumping in on stuff, and we started hitting the road in 2015 was the first time we booked our own tour, and that's when I quit my job, and I haven't had another job since, which is wild.
Excellent. That's really cool.
Yeah.
So you mentioned Dave Matthews. Were there any other artists that influenced your style when you were younger?
Yeah, I mean, but Dave played acoustic, so that would probably be the extent of that. But like, it was mostly Led Zeppelin and Pink Floyd, and then
Nice.
Alice in Chains and Elvis.
Okay, that's
the big ones.
Elvis
but
is
yeah, they all have weird. You look back on that stuff, and there's very clear. Like my first records, I remember getting that I had my own. Like they were mine.
Yeah.
They were the first Elvis record, Sun City, or the Sun Studios record there, and then Magical Mystery Tour, and then Songs in the Key of Springfield.
Okay.
The Simpsons catalog.
Like the
recordings,
Simpsons
the TV show. Yeah,
Oh, no kidding.
Which is like, if you want a masterclass on how to write a song about something very specific, like it's great. It's
Okay.
really good. So it's funny because you can kind of draw correlations and parallels back to from what I'm doing now to like some of those early stuff. Like there are a lot of like, the acoustic guitar on those early Elvis records are super cool. It's driving. It's like doesn't act like the acoustic guitar became. Like it was like much more of a percussive instrument, I feel like, on that
You would
record.
say it was being utilized in a different style back then than it is now?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think the roots of like certainly Elvis wore a lot of influences on his sleeves that he didn't give credit for, right? So
Yes.
there is a lot of, I always likened what Ghost did. We called it holler folk because like there's an aspect of it that's communal. Mm-hmm. So like I always liked the idea. I always really loved the idea of field hollers and like a group of people singing together to get through hard times, and like that's kind of what I thought the spirit of the Ghost was.
Sure was. Yeah.
So that's where the holler and holler folk comes from, and I think Elvis had a lot of that too. Even though he could have been a lot better of
citing his sources.
Yeah,
you
but
might say.
he did play with a lot of black musicians, so like it was probably a little bit more of the people around him, but it's tough to say.
Sure. So part of the depth of your songs and your storytelling is your very powerful, soulful tone that you really bring.
Thanks.
Absolutely. Do you have any vocal training, or are you just self-taught in that regard?
I'm self-taught.
No way.
Yeah, so I taught myself how to sing. I taught myself how to sing using my boombox when I was a kid, and like I would record songs off the radio that I really loved and wanted to sing, and then I would record myself over top of that recording singing the song.
Wow.
And then figure out what I was doing wrong, and then just like taught myself how to sing on top of that. And like there's there's a lot of people who are much better singers than I that know all of that technique stuff. I've never learned any of it, so like I put my voice through the paces when I sing, but like that's how I learned.
It's very, very powerful, very soulful. So that's incredible. How long did that take you?
I'm still working on it.
Still working on it. Sure.
Still working on it, man. So yeah.
That's awesome. Did you ever have like the boombox on the shoulder? Like,
No. Never threw cardboard down and did some spins, but it was kind of just one of those weird things. I just happened to have all of the things necessary to record my own voice. So
excellent. So you kind of mentioned this a little bit. Where does the name The Ghost of Paul Revere come from?
Yeah, it came to me in a dream in college, but like one of those dreams you don't remember. You just kind of wake up with like a lingering feeling. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
So for me, it was waking up and remembering just the line, "The Ghost of Paul Revere," and it was like, oh, this seems like it's important. I should write it down. And then like it became, like I said, when I was playing solo, I used to go as Griffin Sherry in The Ghost of Paul Revere because like the idea of the Ghost of Paul Revere was that it was like I always felt when I performed on stage that it wasn't just me that was performing. Like, it's a weird way to put that, but that the spirit of like creation of music and art itself and performance, like, sometimes overtakes you and like kind of like it's not. It doesn't feel like it feels like almost like a possession.
Yeah.
And I always like my nervousness and anxiety and stuff like always seemed to disappear when I got on stage.
Yeah.
So it didn't feel like me up there. It felt like something else. So like that was kind of the idea behind the Ghost, was like this other kind of personality that also took over.
Cool. It's kind of like the movie. Have you seen the movie Sinners? Just came out with Michael B. Jordan. Mm-hmm. Same thing when he starts playing and like suddenly like it's just like there's a driving force that like encapsulates all these different cultures and this timelessness, and like from the past, the present, and the future. Is that kind of what you're?
I mean, that spirit, the spirit of music kind of thing, for sure. Like there is I think there's something like cool, like interestingly, like, you know, tent revival-ish about performing music, especially like with acoustic instruments, like like instruments that resonate themselves. Are made of natural things, and then doing that with multiple people, like especially singing, there is some type of power behind it that's hard to describe. You know?
That's super neat. So it came to you in a dream.
It did.
Wow.
Yeah, originally we'd always told ourselves that we would tell people a different answer every time.
Oh, really?
I try to keep the Bob Dylan spirit alive of that, but like we just forgot and started just saying the actual story. So
is that what Bob Dylan would do?
Bob Dylan lied about everything. So,
really?
Bob lies about all the things, but in like a interesting way. He's a pretty interesting character. As far as,
he is. Yeah, I haven't listened to Bob Dylan.
He tells tall tales about most things. Yeah.
What did you think of the movie Sinners? I thought it was really good. What did you think?
I enjoyed it. I mean, I like Ryan Coogler a lot. I think that what he's making is really cool, and I also think it's like that analogy of vampirism versus like how white culture seems to absorb things around it and consume it. I can't believe it hadn't really been done before, and if it had been done, then I'm ignorant to it. But like, I thought it was a great way to put that.
I'd say so too. So what was the first venue that you booked and you were like, oh my gosh, like I'm really going to grow in the music industry? When did you realize that you were going to make it, per se?
Well, you know, I'm still not sure of it, but the Empire across the street from here in Portland.
That's the one with the comedy club, right?
It's a comedy club now, but it wasn't at the time. Like, I mean, Portland music scene has changed quite a bit since we started. This would have been 2012, I guess.
Okay.
We did we opened for a band. We opened for this band, Dark Hollow Bottling Company, and we were working on our first EP. And like a couple months later, we decided to do our own CD release party there, and we did that, and it sold out. And we had people who knew all the words to a bunch of the songs, and that was kind of the first moment. It was like, oh, this is different. This is working. So,
what was your first EP?
North.
Nice. You've done a lot of really, really good stuff.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, for sure. What would you say? How would you say the Portland music scene is changing?
Well, you know, I'm a little more on the outside, so I moved to the sticks a bit now, which like I love, but it does keep me kind of out of the loop for things. But you know, a lot of the smaller venues, you know, when I was just starting out in 2000, I started playing music in town Portland on my own in about 2008. When I'd come home from college, I'd play. And there were a lot more open mics, a lot more smaller venues. You know, it's like we had not only Blue, but we had Slancha, and we had open mics at Empire. We had open mics at Dogfish. We had open mics at Brian Baru's. We had like, kind of all over the place, right? So there was a lot of opportunities for young musicians to play in front of people and a community of people who were just kind of getting their starts that like, you know, we all were kind of playing together, which was really cool.
Yep.
And, you know, at that time, it was a bunch of scrappy young bands that we kind of just all started playing together and playing music and writing music together. And I don't know if that exists anymore. It seems like a lot of the opportunities, at least public facing for that to exist, have started to go by the wayside.
Yeah.
You know, because like most of those open mics have disappeared, and you know, some of the other open mics I've seen, you know, it's tough because it doesn't seem like there's like a young, hungry group of people trying to create like there was at my time, which, you know, it might have just been a fluke of the times. Like I might have just shown up at the right time, but like, you know, it's not as cool when it's just like people who are, you know, in their 50s and 60s, just like been playing the same song at open mics for the last 30 years, like taking up the best slots, and there's nobody there that's like really trying to innovate or do something. So
yeah, you see, what you're saying, the early Portland music scene very much reminds me of the Orono music scene when I was at the University of Maine. I remember it started at the, what was that? I think it was called the Common Loon. It was this small little bar, European style bar in Orono. And there was this band Sizzle. And Sizzle was, it was Emma, Tripp, Kaylee, Trey, and Yoni. I might be forgetting somebody. But they were just these young, ready-to-go college kids just wanted to make something. They created this jam band.
Hell yeah.
And it was like the first time, and it was this explosion. Like, they performed at the Common Loon, and so many people showed up. Yeah. And then it just seems like the Orono music scene exploded after that. And I think that I'm kind of drawing parallels between the two, because after Sizzle, then it was, I remember I went to Spaced. I think now they're called Milk Street. Yeah. And it just draws a lot of parallels to that.
Yeah. I think it's, there's like, if you have a band that kind of shows you that it's possible to do it, you're more likely to go pick up an instrument and start jamming with your friends.
Absolutely.
If you're given permission, more people are going to.
Yep. So you say that the Portland scene is kind of the barrier to entry is much higher now?
Yeah, I mean, and like that's saying it from the outside. So like I could be totally wrong. I saw that like they just brought back So Far, which is like me and Phil Davinsky and another friend helped start the first version of that, now 11 years ago, I guess, 10 years ago, here in Portland. Not, when they were first started traveling around the world. Sure. So like, it's cool to see that, because that's another great platform for people to kind of go see new artists they aren't like, they're not choosing to see, like it's a surprise who's playing every time.
Oh, really? Okay.
Which is a great format to discover new music, and like there needs to be more of that. So that's really exciting to see. But like as far as like outwardly facing, I don't see as many opportunities for bands to grow in Portland as there used to be, and especially like because like you go from now, it's pretty much like Blue is the place to see music, and Madrid's, the kind of bar area, Madrid's, I think they're going to try to build into something. Yep. But then the next jump is Portland House of Music. That's 320, and then after that it's Asylum and Madrid's, and that's 700 and 800 respectively, and then all of a sudden you're at State Theater, which is 2,000, which is like that pipeline for growth for a band is very tough. Like,
no doubt.
We need a good, I guess Geno's would be a great, like if Geno's did more, like if the local scene could really grow in a room like that, but like, there are opportunities, but I just don't see them as easy to kind of grab as they were in 2010. But like that also could be me speaking from old age and
from the outside looking in,
the withered old husk of a man who's been on the road for 10 years. But it's because it's but we were just having this conversation. Like the landscape has changed so much for what I know and how I kind of got to a place where I could be a full-time musician. In that, like, it was always for us, it was like play more shows, get in a van, play shows.
Yeah.
And that was the key to the Ghost success. We just played all of the time, and we had a lot of fun doing it. And we we brought people from out of Portland into Portland. But now, I think a lot of those communities exist purely online.
Yes.
And like there is probably a certain disconnect where it's like there are probably people right here in Portland who, have over 1 million listeners on Spotify. Like Ghost doesn't even have that, that's tough to get. But like they don't play shows, right? That's kind of like seems like a new thing, where the people, the growth digitally, doesn't match with what the physical reality of it. Yeah, the human presence of it, right? So there could be a lot of people finding a lot of success by growing stuff organically online to a community that's worldwide instead of just like here in town. And I just don't see them because they're not playing shows like we used to.
Sure.
It's tough to say.
Which would you say is more spiritually rewarding?
Oh my God, in person.
Yeah.
Like, kidding me? Like when the pandemic happened, that was like one of the most soul crushing things, was like just like kind of realizing that like things were changing, and that like even in the short term, I had to perform music to a computer screen.
Oh.
And like the one saving grace was knowing that like a lot of people were, being supportive and wanting to hear it and needed some type of brevity and music in their life. So like that helped a little bit, but like also like I was just in a basement, yelling songs at a blue screen, just,
and that's so much
depressed
different
as hell, and just like, being like, what happened,
Yep.
just playing shows. So
and that's so much different than addressing fans at Thompson's Point. The sun's going down, boats are going by, seagulls overhead.
Just a little bit.
Yeah, I'd say a little bit. Yeah, for sure. So you've worked with some really, really big names. You opened for Lord Huron at Back Co-Fest, right?
Yeah, I mean, technically, I guess. Yeah. Festival sets are kind of funny like that because, like, Lord Huron, we were on the same stage as Lord Huron, and they were 2 acts after us. Okay. So, like, so we were earlier in the day. So, like, we weren't direct support. So, like, there's no, like, we had a little bit of interaction with them, but, like, that day I didn't have too much interaction with them.
Sure.
As compared to other bands, I sought other bands out to have interactions with them. So
that's really cool. I'm a huge fan of Lord Huron too. So that's the first
they're awesome.
one.
That show was interesting. It was very cinematic.
Okay.
There was a lot of stage dressing and a lot of stage production.
Yeah.
Which, like, and when you compared to Jack White the next day, was like couldn't have been polar opposites. Like, which is, I love that about music, but Jack just got up there with a couple guitars and just played as loud as he could. And then Lord Huron had a whole theme and idea behind their whole set, which is interesting. So,
was it like a Western? Because they've been going in kind of the Western direction with Long Lost.
I'd say it's like that Northern Californian Western, right? Where there's like cedar trees and mountain scrabble, and there was a couple that danced and answered a telephone. I had stuff to describe.
Yes. That's a staple in their new album, The Cosmic Selector Volume 1.
Yeah. It's definitely on theme for sure.
Oh yeah.
Cool. I mean, I like Lord Huron too, and I've seen him do it both ways. I've seen him just show up and play.
Yep.
And I think that it's interesting too for me that, like, I like it when a band just plays. Like, that's because I like to see the musicianship and I like to see them working.
Yeah.
And when you are as deftly skilled at your job as Lord Huron is, and you sound just like the record, and you put on a more cinematic show, it almost tricks your mind into thinking that they're not actually doing it, which is, I find always very interesting watching shows. Be like, I know they're playing these songs, but also they're doing it so well
that it seems like they're not doing it at all.
That they're seeing like they're not doing it at all. Yeah. Which is an interesting thing. It's a fun thing to think about as a performer. Yeah.
So you've worked with Lord Huron. You've worked with the Mallet Brothers.
Oh yeah, many times. Yeah.
Many times.
Yep. I mean, we've been coming up together since the early 2010s. So
nice. And you've even performed on Conan O'Brien.
Did. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. What is it like performing on that level with names like that?
Well, they're all very different. I mean, Conan was a pretty surreal experience, and it was nice it was wonderful to meet him and have that experience. It was nerve-wracking for sure.
No doubt.
And but I think that, like I said, one of the best things is that you get to see true masters of their craft perform, and I've seen a lot of incredible people perform.
Yeah.
And that's always my favorite part, is going to watch other people play.
Sure.
So, and it also makes you want to be a much better performer during your set,
Challenges you.
I always liked opening sets for, like, when we're opening for bands, like if, we're opening for the Revivalists, or we're open for like whoever, Trample's a little different, but wanting to, like, show up the other band. Like, I love that feeling of, like, it's like I'm in a room full of fans of another band, getting an opportunity, and I need to make sure that when they leave this show, they're talking about our band. So, like, I do love that feeling. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's super cool. Ultimately, I know that the Ghost decided to break up to prioritize emotional health over the stresses of that national tour, inevitably bring. Do you want to unpack that a little bit more?
Yeah, sure. I mean, yeah. Well, it's funny because it's like, I guess I have unpacked it quite a bit privately. So, like, publicly, I think that, like, we made a decision. Essentially Max and Sean just kind of wanted to live a different life, right?
Sure.
So, and like, that's one of the reasons why I'm still playing music, and they took a back seat for a couple of years because Sean wanted to start a family, which he did.
Nice.
And Max got married and bought a house, and like, so, like,
that's super cool.
We had all these changes, and we were, we'd been going hard for years and years, and
and you did. Yeah.
It was time. And like, I think that it was we went on a really high note, and it was good to just end it where it was. And I was also very exciting for me because I was also at that point very much in need of finding, some new collaborators, and also just pursuing music that didn't carry the label of Ghost of Paul Revere.
Sure.
You know, because as much as we were in control of that and we could honestly do whatever we wanted.
Right.
Because we were independent the whole time. We didn't have a label. It still carried a thing with it, right?
It carried the Ghost of Paul Revere.
Yeah. So, it was another chance to kind of do something new and play music. So, and also fight for the growth again because it's a wild time out there in the music industry.
No doubt.
Yeah.
I believe that any decision that is made to prioritize emotional health is the right decision.
Yeah.
And ultimately, it did lead to the preservation of the Ghost of Paul Revere in the fact that you, Max, and Sean will come back and perform together.
Yes. Well, yeah. We'll see. Yeah, we haven't done it yet, but that's the plan.
Sure. Yeah. You have Ghostlands. Yeah. Ghostlands 26.
Yeah. I mean, we needed that time. I think that
Absolutely.
So we'll see what that means for the future. We don't know whether or not this is going to happen once. This is going to happen every year.
Okay.
We really don't know. We're taking it one Ghostland at a time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I know that the Portland community loves Ghostlands, and I mean it's selling out. So
I mean, my idea for Ghostland was always, we started Ghostland in 2014.
Yeah.
And we, at that point we had just sold out Port City for the first time.
Yep.
Rest in peace, Port City. But we didn't know what to do, and we just were like, what if we did our own music festival? So it was a music festival with all of our friends, and it was like we paid for the whole thing, and we set it. We put out fencing, we set up porta potties, we hired cops, we cooked food for the bands, we did everything, and we did it, and then we're like, let's do it again next year, and then it was 4 years later we did the next one, and it was at Thompson's Point, and
Wow.
my hope for it was always that it grew beyond us. So that we could help kind of steer the direction each year, but the Ghost didn't need to be the band that headlined it.
Yep.
And unfortunately, we were dealing with kind of with the end of that era of the Ghost of Paul Revere being a band, we just didn't have the structure around us or the right people with us that could help carry that torch without us.
Yeah.
So it went by the wayside for 4 years, but we're happy to bring it back, and I hope in the future we can still grow it so that Portland can have. And I know we have Back Cove, which is cool now, but
Back Cove Fest, yeah.
The idea was always that it's a music festival for people who love the type of music that we make, and also just locals, because we always try to. There's always at least one local band that we love on the lineup.
That's super awesome. Yeah, no, that's really great. My roommate works in the music production industry. He's worked a bunch of gigs at Thompson's Point. He said that Back Cove Fest was a logistical nightmare in terms of making it all happen.
It seemed like the backstage was chaotic, but also I will say, I have played a lot of festivals. I played a lot of bad festivals. Back Cove was not one of those. It was awesome. It was great. And I really, even though now it'll be competition for Ghostland, but competition I think is a very good thing.
You mentioned that, yeah.
I can't wait for it to come back because it was from an artist and an audience perspective, it was fantastically run, and I think the 2-stage setup couldn't have gone more flawlessly. It was great.
Nice.
So.
Very, very cool.
Yeah, but I can see why, just where they put the tractor trailer trucks and there's a lot of stuff they got to figure out, but that's how that goes.
That's show business.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta give a quick. We were talking about what was that venue that you just mentioned that is now no longer
Port City.
Port City.
I mean, it's next door to us now.
Yep. Another one that I want to mention is Brian Boru.
Brian Boru. Mm-hmm.
Brian Boru. It's still the Guinness Toucan is still right there. Mm-hmm. I went to. It's a bit of a funny story. I was on a date once, and I took somebody to a comedy show at Aura, the nightclub. And then afterwards, I'm like, I need to take you somewhere really important.
Oh, yeah.
And she's like, where? And I brought her right to Brian Boru, and I'm like, you see this place? This was an important place.
This used to mean something.
This used to mean something.
Yeah.
Now it's just a shell.
Oh, boy. Yeah, I had some late nights there, that's for sure. I mean, Ghost played there a bunch of times, too. We do pop-up shows or shows in the early days upstairs.
Yeah.
So.
I remember Smoked had Smoked. I was driving by once, and it had the sign. It was like Brian Boru Day, and I'm like, don't play with my heart like this.
Well, I'm glad they haven't torn it down because I keep hearing that they're going to tear it down, but
they just shouldn't do that.
Yeah, we'll see. Portland it's going through some growing pains. It seems like right now. So
yes, definitely. So, how do you feel your personal style of music has grown since your time performing in the Ghost of Paul Revere as you move into your own solo act?
I would say the biggest thing is just a confidence thing. Learning to trust your instincts is for me at least, was always kind of counterintuitive. I always would second guess them, but like now I'm much more comfortable just kind of following an idea or a thought. And just like I think that routine and just being committed to this full time has helped a lot.
Yeah.
It's like I endeavor to write every day, and I just like play a lot of music and like all that stuff is just like, it's funny that, truly it does take 10,000 hours to feel semi-competent at something. So
that's a lot of time.
But yeah, I mean, it's like we're the band's starting to play a little bit more electric, which is exciting, and but I do feel like, on a very fundamental, like a molecular level, like that, not much has changed. It's like my voice was pretty strong in Ghost of Paul Revere as far as my writing was concerned, and like it's still that same voice for the new stuff, which is interesting. It's just kind of presented in a different way.
Sure. Yeah, I had a group chat that I was part of that were all huge Ghost fans from friends in college, and I mentioned that I was interviewing you on Between the Piers. And the first response was, "No, you're not." The second one was this next question, which is, what elements have you kept from your time in Ghost, and what elements of your music have you made independently?
I think that there's an interesting amount of crossover there too.
Sure.
I still play a couple Ghost songs every set, just because I wrote a lot of those songs and I'm really proud of them. So like I still want to play things like Wild Child and if it's a solo acoustic show, then it's like that I kind of just I just do whatever I want and go off the rails and play really old stuff and new stuff and that kind of stuff. And
what are your top 3 Ghost of Paul Revere songs?
Oh, to play?
Yeah.
Wild Child will always be up there because it means a lot to me, that song.
Say more.
Well, I just like it not only represents a time where like the Ghost kind of grew into something that I didn't imagine it was going to grow into, like that song in particular kind of spearheaded it, but also just like I wrote it at a time in my life that was pretty tumultuous, and that was kind of the like period on the end of the sentence of that, which is nice, that in Montreal, that record in general, but like, I love that one. I love we play This Is the End a lot, and that song resonates a lot with people, which is always been very interesting to me that people glob onto that song so much, and it's like great. And then like getting a chance to that now that 20th kind of has new legs.
We're gonna talk about 20th.
20th. So those, and we one of these days too is like a personal favorite of mine. Like having what Zach, who plays guitar in the band, and McCrae bring to that song, I think is really incredible. You don't have all these things. We're trading kind of the Ghost harmonies, which were something special for sure. We're trading that, I think, and bringing a little bit more like instrumentality to those songs instead, and kind of
very nice
reinterpreting them through a different lens of a band.
Wild Child was a really special one for me as well, because it was a very tumultuous time for me in college when I saw you. So Wild Child just hit me in the heart in a way that like it felt like you understood. Which it's crazy that I'm telling you this now, but Wild Child was a really good one. This Is the End, I got to tell you, has been a go-to staple karaoke song for me and my friend. Her name is Elle.
On karaoke. So you just make your own? Did you make? How did you?
I think it's on YouTube. Yeah,
it's wild.
Instrumental.
Yeah.
And then when we would,
it's like 4 folk chords, so it wouldn't be hard to re-record. That's for sure. Especially all the stuff in Believe, it wouldn't be hard to re-record.
Sure. When we worked at Lonesome Lake, me and my friend Elle, we would wake people up with "This Is the End," just because it's like, hey, this is the end of your stay here. Get up, it's breakfast time. And that was a go-to for us. And whenever we go to Jewel Box's karaoke on Wednesdays, she always goes, "Do you want to play This Is the End?" And I'm like, I'm not doing that to Griffin. No,
you go for it. It's very exciting and an honor, for that stuff to be, for it to have legs beyond me, for it to resonate with people. And that's the hope as a writer, is that you're writing something that like is on one hand deeply personal, but also it can speak to other people so that they can see themselves in it. I mean, that's something I took from my time as a painter and doing fine art, was that like, as soon as you present a work to any type of audience, it no longer belongs to you. It belongs to whoever the observer is. So like, you hope that you create something that people can resonate within.
Yeah. This next section, I wanted to talk about like your main connection, because I think that that's something that you've really explored in your newer work. I wanted to draw praise to the fact that your music is uniquely Maine.
Thanks.
As someone who grew up in small town Central Maine, what's the song? Our Town.
Yep.
I can name like it just the archetypes you bring up right at the beginning there just blend so effortlessly into the small town Maine experience. Would you say that your music is inspired by your time growing up here in Maine?
Absolutely. I mean, it's you know, I left for college, but came back. So like most of my lived experience, if it's not in a van out in the country somewhere, is here in Maine, and like that's my community is here and my family's here, and I love it here. Like I unabashedly have always been a big fan of this state and its people and everything about it. Yep. So yeah, I mean, I think it's a huge influence, and it's also just like where, you know, I think that like most writers would tell you, like you have to have a life and have experiences to, you know, to be able to convey those to other people, so that like your community, no matter what you do, is going to come through in that. You know, so if I was living, I couldn't imagine living somewhere like New York City where it's like that's your community is the amount of people is so much astronomically larger, but your community is so much smaller because of it. I couldn't imagine writing in a life situation like that. But like Maine is, I can draw from so much because I've met so many wonderful people and I know so many interesting people, and that all infuses itself in the work, and it's interesting, so I want to keep writing about it, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. I have briefly lived in New York on and off. My father lives down there. And yeah, the people down there, there's a lot more people, but like you said, the community is just not present, right? Yeah. And even in Portland, I struggle with that a little bit. Like I'm just now starting to become a member of a community, which is contra dancing, which is a weird community. You know?
But great community.
It's a fantastic community. Yeah. I actually have the heads of Portland and Town Contra on the podcast in a couple of weeks, which is
awesome,
wild.
But that'll like, you know, that the nice thing about, and this is true for anywhere, but like contra dancing can lead you to, you know, just like old time like fiddle jams or bluegrass jams, which will then lead you to a bluegrass community, which will lead you to a festival, which will lead you to like bigger, and all of a sudden you're going to be loading up a car and heading to Gray Fox. Like that's just like how it's going to go. Like, or you know, that's how it can go.
That's the pipeline.
That's the pipeline to build a bigger community. Bluegrass is very good at it, so that's one of the things I love about it.
For sure. What are your hobbies outside of your work?
I don't have many. No, I still do a lot of art and a lot of graphic design and stuff. That's kind of, you know, I got a degree in sound and video installation and oil painting. So like that's like where that comes out a lot because I do all like my own merch design, and I do like the album design stuff, and always have for like Ghost and stuff. So there's only 2 records I didn't do for Ghost, and like that stuff kind of all came out that way. So I still do a lot of that stuff, and now it's finding time to like. Now I'm using art as a break from music, you know, which is funny because it started as the opposite. But and then just I'm kind of a tinkerer, so I'm always kind of tinkering around. I've like 17 acres, so I spend a lot of time just kind of observing my land. You know, yeah, you know, I think music takes up. So I mean, I just love it so much that like I'm constantly playing or listening to music. It's kind of my life, but. Yeah, other than that, I mean, I like to be outdoors. I like to be fishing.
I was going to say, you have a tattoo of
I have a gray ghost.
A gray ghost.
Yeah, so a Maine fly. Yep. But I've been fly fishing since I was a little kid. So the any chance, you know, if I can justify setting work down for a hot second, then I try to be out in the water.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Do you know, according to the little fly fishing tip here, according to the Maine Department of Inland Fisheries and Wildlife, they say during the Maine Guide exam that the Rebel is the best fly for bass.
Is it really?
That's what they say.
Yeah. Well, they can keep it. I'm a big bass, you know. I'm not a big bass fisherman, but that's a question also I want to talk to you about because you have a guiding license. This is something I've endeavored to get for years and I haven't had the time for it, but I think this fall I'm going to start training for it.
Sure.
Just for recreational.
Yes. Yep. That's what I have.
Yeah. I certainly am going to learn all the first aid stuff, but like, I don't know if I want to be official enough that people will depend on me with their lives. So,
sure.
you know,
Well, with the registered Maine guide, you need a wilderness first aid, which is a pretty low level of care. Compared to, I was formerly a wilderness first responder, which is that higher level of care,
which is
a much more intensive class. For registered Maine guide, particularly recreationally, it just takes a wilderness first aid in order to get your foot in the door for the test. And when you put in for the test, you have to put in 100 hours. You have to list 100 hours outdoors.
Yeah.
Right. Like I think when I did it, I think I had like 3,500 just with all the hiking I've done, and I've done the New England 67 and all these mountains.
You ever done Funny Footpath?
Where's that?
That's next to my list. In the Bay of Funny. It's so I mean Eastern Maine. Keep driving up. And it's the largest tidal zone in the world, but it's like 26 miles as a crow flies, but it's the largest elevation gain and loss on the eastern seaboard as far as a hike.
Yikes! How long is it?
It's, well, like I said, 26 miles, but I think it takes people usually a little over a week to do. Because like you have to plan around tides, because the tides rise about 25 feet, 26 feet.
Goodness.
So you have to plan, where you're staying and how much time you're doing a day, and it's on my list of things to do.
The Fundy Footpath.
Me and my wife, yeah.
Oh, very good, very good.
But
yeah, no. If you have any questions about a registered Maine guide, by all means.
Yeah, I do. I'd love to get it just to just be a part of that. Well, back to community, be a part of that like legacy and community. I think that means a lot to me, and I've known a lot of Maine guides that have meant a lot to me in my life. So be cool to be a part of that.
Absolutely. Would you say that you incorporate the beauty of your home state into the music that you produce? It is said that your music equally fits into a dive bar as it does around a campfire, which is such a unique spectrum to be able to cover, and yet you do it so effortlessly.
Well, yeah, I find myself at both of them often. So
fair enough.
As much as I can, I've been asked questions, like that before, where it's like, specifically, I did a podcast once that was about kind of music in relation to nature, and they were just kind of like, "What's your favorite song to listen to outdoors?" And I was like, I don't listen. I listen to the outdoors. I listen to the outdoors. That's the song that I love when I'm out there. It's like just listening to, listen to thrushes, listen to all of my favorite things outside. But yeah, man, I do as much as I can to capture the beauty, but also I feel like it's such an impossible task. It's like this, like it almost feels like so classically romantic to like be an artist trying to capture the beauty of the world around you in words when it's so impossible.
Yeah. I always used to say when I was taking people out on trips, I always used to say, if the world was not meant to be beautiful, why do the birds sing?
Oh, yeah.
And just stuff like that.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard of white-throated sparrow?
Yeah, actually. So I don't know what it is about turning 30, but like once you pass that crest, it's just like, especially now that Merlin is an app on my phone.
It's like, over. It's over.
Boy, do I have a running tally of which helps because my eyesight's not great. I have a running tally of the birds on my property, and we've been having a lot of those this spring actually, which is cool.
That's really cool. Yeah. Are you on the list? I know that there's a very competitive birding list down here in Cumberland County.
No. I'm not going to get involved with that. No, I'm going to do it from the peripheries, just recreationally.
Totally.
I'm sure I'm on a couple lists, and I'm sure none of them are good. So it's sure, especially right now.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah, I have a friend of mine, and on Sunday we're going to look for shorebirds in Scarborough, and she's looking for like very obscure sandpipers, and I'm like,
yep. I just had a bunch of killdeer nesting by us, and like I had never seen the in person. I'd never seen like the killdeer. Feigned injury.
The broken wing dance?
Yeah, the broken wing dance, which is a ton of fun. My dog was all about it, for sure, and it was fun to watch.
Well, yeah, that's kind of what they want. They want your dog to be all about it so that it's not paying attention to their very poorly made nest in the corner. Yeah.
If only they knew, she would be fine. But
fair enough. What kind of dog do you have?
I have two. I have an Australian cattle dog, and I have an Australian shepherd.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a little energy dog.
The shepherd he's new, and he is just a dervish for sure.
Oh, boy.
Like a cartoon character. Like I expect him to leave his silhouette in the wall every time he runs out of the room, Yep. And our cattle dog, she was our pandemic dog, and she is mostly catalog, but she's also Great Pyrenees. She's a mix.
Wow.
She's was found on the street in Georgia, and so she is one of the laziest catalogs I think that's ever existed, which is fantastic.
Nice.
She likes to sit and watch a lot of stuff, but she also does have that catalog in there for sure.
Have you ever watched Togo, the Disney movie about the gnome serum run?
No.
So the reason I bring this up is because your Australian Shepherd reminds me a lot of the namesake dog Togo, which is this it's what's called a cephalous sled dog, which is a breed of husky.
Yeah.
And it's just mischievous. Like at one point, Leonard Cepolo, played by Willem Dafoe, sells it. He's just like, I don't want this dog. Take this dog. He sells it to this very rich person in like the city. And it completely trashes their house, and they end up bringing it back. They're like, this dog is the devil. And then he locks the puppy in his workshop while he's mushing the other dogs. And it ends up like climbing onto the rafters and like breaking a bunch of glass to get out to be in that. And then Togo ends up being the dog that like covers like over 70 something miles of like the Iditarod.
That's right. That's crazy.
To bring the serum to Nome from Fairbanks, because what happened was a diphtheria outbreak. Yeah. And the kids were dying and they couldn't get there via plane because of the storms and the weather. So they ended up having to bring it by dog sled. That's why the Iditarod race happens. Yeah. And Togo was the dog that covered the most mileage.
That's what started the Iditarod?
Yeah.
That's incredible. That's cool.
Yeah, it was the Gnome Serum Run.
That's like it's like marathon. That's makes a lot of sense. Cool.
And Togo was the one that like did the most mileage and the heavy lifting. Started as a dervish of a dog that he wanted to get rid of.
Yeah, that would be ours is named Bandit. He very much fits the namesake.
Nice.
So.
That's about it. But the first dog that came in was a dog named Fox. Yeah. According to the movie, and I believe this to be true. And they were like, well, we can't put the name in as Fox because then they're going to think it was a fox that brought him in. So the second dog that came in was Balto.
Oh, yeah.
And that's why Balto is the one with the statue in Central Park. Yep. Because Balto was the one that delivered it, but Togo was the one who did all the heavy running.
Got it. Yeah.
So
he's the face of the thing.
Yep. So they call it the Cephala sled dog.
That's cool.
Yeah. So, anyways, not talking about Huskies anymore. Back to you. Can you explain the history of like the music community in the state of Maine and how it fits into the greater compilation of art that the state typically offers?
I mean, I'm certainly not a music historian, but
sure.
A lot of that stuff. And we're talking about 20th because 20th is kind of written in the style. A lot of Maine music is very heavily influenced by the Canadian Maritimes. So like that maritime music is essentially Irish Scottish music.
Sure.
And then it certainly grows over time. Yep. But so kind of you start with that, and then you get influences from the South coming up. But the biggest export we have for music is Zydeco music, which is like not something that people normally know. But
what's Zydeco music?
Zydeco music is what you think of New Orleans. You think of the Cajun music, like.
Yep.
So I don't know if you know much about like the history of the Cajun people or the truly the history of the Acadian people.
I was going to say the Acadian.
Acadian music is like. They're forced out of northern Maine, this culture of people that are French and English, and they go to New Orleans and they become the Cajun people. So you have all of these former Mainers now in the South getting influenced by French culture. It becomes Zydeco, which also helps influence jazz and all this stuff. So like that kind of like if anyone's a fan of Little Feat or you like the like Rebirth Jazz Band or like that kind of like. That New Orleans funeral processions kind of like swag, like that feel of music.
Yeah.
It's tough to try and describe Zydeco without using the word Zydeco.
Sure.
That feel of music is a very northern Maine thing, which is really cool.
Wow.
So that's our biggest export. And then, but I mean, we've had a lot of incredible songwriters come from Maine.
That's true.
Dave Mallett's certainly one of them, and then. Don McLean is a Mainer, and
really Don McLean,
American Pie,
like American Pie.
Yeah.
No kidding.
And then I don't know if he was born here, but he's lived here most of his life in the Mid Coast, and then you kind of go through the years. And Portland has certainly produced since the late '90s a bunch of really cool bands that have had varying degrees of success in the industry, from
Wow.
Rustic Overtones to Howie Day to
That's
Then
wow. I did not know
Ghost
that.
carried that torch for a little bit.
Sure did.
Yeah.
You sure did. I'm starting to wonder, is Cajun like a play on the word Acadian?
It is.
It is. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
And I'm sure there's like a lot of people who, there's so many people who could speak much more intelligently and correctly on this topic than I can. But like I've picked up stories over the years, and that's
Sure.
that is that's part of that story.
Yep.
But the play, yeah. The band wrote a song about it. Acadian Driftwood is a great song. That tells kind of
sure is.
the story about the Acadian people, which is like a part of Maine history that I feel I didn't learn. I had to independently learn about. It wasn't taught in schools, which is I think a shame. But
Yeah, absolutely. All right. I want to talk about it. I want to talk particularly about your song, The Ballad of the 20th
Sure.
Maine,
Yeah.
which, oh my goodness. The Ballad of the 20th Maine is such an important song to me in so many different ways. Every time I cross the Piscataqua Bridge, that is the first song that comes on.
Mm-hmm.
And it was recently codified and immortalized as Maine State Ballad by Governor Janet Mills.
2019, yeah.
2019.
Yeah.
What went into writing such a powerful piece of music that is now representative of Maine forever?
Yeah, this is very true. I love history.
Yeah.
I think that any 30 plus Caucasian man will tell you that they enjoy some type of history. I've always been a pretty big fan of it, and I had a teacher in middle school that really reinforced the history of the Civil War, and that I became very interested in that. And then the 20th in general, like that story is such a core part of Maine history.
Yes.
And so I was at the time reading a lot of book. I was reading a bunch of books on Joshua Chamberlain and specifically Soul of a Lion.
The Lion of Bowden.
Became interested in writing a song about the 20th because there's one other bluegrass folk song written by two kind of heavy hitters in the folk world that was about the 20th Maine, but it was like wildly historically inaccurate.
Oh, really?
And they're both not Mainers. And so I was like, I would like to take a stab at writing, because I always like, sometimes I try to give myself writing prompts to write songs.
Sure.
And that one was like, can I write a historical ballad in the, this like style of like maritime folk? And then, can I make it factually accurate entirely? And that's how 20th. It took like a couple years of research, but that's how 20th came
And
along.
it was incredible. It was incredible. If anybody who's listening to this has not heard The Ballad of the 20th Maine, you need to listen to it.
It got me my favorite news article headline.
What was that?
Which was New Maine State Ballad, Too Tough on Confederacy? Question mark.
Please.
It was 2019, and I was like, this is the best thing I've ever seen. Thank you very
did
much.
it.
I did it.
I did what I needed
Oh
to
my
do.
God, it's so funny. But, it's,
What was the process of having that codified and immortalized as Maine State Ballad?
I feel like I was a little bit of a tourist for the whole thing. It was, someone else submitted it as a bill, and then we got asked to come in and kind of defend it.
Defend it?
Yeah, because it goes whenever you submit something whenever the Congress is in session, you submit something to become a bill.
Yep.
There's a review process.
Yeah.
So you're in a little conference room with a bunch of senators or representatives, and they ask you a lot of questions, and they ask why it should be the thing, and then that committee then brings it to the they either kill it or they bring it to the House. And it was the same time that this like group of elementary school kids was trying to make the whoopie pie the official Maine dessert, and they got shot down.
No.
Yeah, it was
What?
It was pretty funny. And
That's brutal.
So it was very brutal. They were not. The Senate. They were all about business. So we.
Wow.
We had to go in and had to answer questions like, why is it boys of Maine, not people of Maine, and be like, well, it's a play on like a very famous quote, all these kind of things. I was like, it's like I get where they're coming from, but it was not like there was no push from the band for this to be a thing. It just kind of we were just kind of along for the ride, and I certainly would go and defend that song as much as I can. And
I'd agree with that.
It was checked over by the Maine State historian and to see if it was accurate, which luckily I got an A+ on that, which is dope. And then it passed through the House and Senate flying colors, unanimous votes, and signed the law by the governor, which is pretty wild. And then
Amazing.
got to play it in the Hall of Flags with the governor on spoons because
What was that like?
Governor Mills does love to play the spoons.
Yeah. Wait, she played the spoons?
Yeah, she does.
No way.
Popped out of the back at the press conference and started playing spoons. Yeah, she'll travel with spoons. She'll play spoons at. I heard, I didn't get a chance to make it, but I heard at the Mallet Brothers show at Maine Craft at Maine Beer Company that she was playing spoons with them too. So.
No way.
Yeah, it's great. She's awesome.
wild.
So.
What was it like, standing next to Governor Mills playing spoons within the walls where so much of Maine's history has unfolded? Did you ever think you'd reach that level?
No, surreal. It was very surreal. I was in a very poorly fitting suit because it's like, what do you do when you go to the Capitol? All of a sudden you turn into like a 7th grader. You're just like, I'm going to wear a suit, I guess.
Secondhand suit.
Yeah, I'm going to wear a suit, I guess. It was very surreal. Yeah, and it was like there was a lot of questions that you have to like figure out, like what does this mean for the song? What does it mean for the ownership of the song? Like all this stuff that was interesting to kind of for the first time tackle. And
wow. And once again, that song is so deeply Maine. Like I mentioned earlier, I have family members that went to Libby Tozier.
Yep.
Who I'm assuming is like related to Andrew Tozier.
They are. So yeah, Tozier moved back to. He kind of he did a lot of community building in Litchfield after his kind of rehabilitation in Augusta with Governor Chamberlain.
Following the war?
Following the war.
Yeah.
Because I don't know how much you know about that history of Andrew Tozier, I think, is like one of the most interesting people in Maine history. And
really?
It's why I chose to wrote the song about him, because like everybody writes about Chamberlain, Chamberlain was a very good advocate for himself, right? He was well spoken. He was a good advocate for himself. So that some of his story, I have always felt like you need to take with a pretty hefty grain of salt.
Sure.
Tozier, on the other hand, everything's kind of secondhand, which is really cool. And he, not only was he the color guard, which is like arguably one of the most badass and most dangerous things you can be in an army regiment, especially in the Civil War.
That's the drum player?
Is flag.
The flag bearer. Yeah.
Yep. So he is. There is a moment, and it talked about in the song. There is a moment where the fifth Texas. Sometimes I get the numbers wacky, but
okay.
5th Texas is coming up the bottle. It's coming up the bottom of Little Round Top, and they've entirely run out of ammunition, and they don't know what to do. And like before the call for bayonets is issued, Tozier is out in front of everybody with a pistol because it's all he has on him, and the flag. Flying the flag of Maine.
That's so badass.
Getting shot at.
Yep.
And he, I don't have to knock on wood because he's long dead, but he makes it out. He is fine, and they charge around him, and he charges with them. So
that's so bad. That's like something out of a movie.
He's got this huge. I mean, that whole thing is so cinematic and so surreal that it happened in real life. It's like it's but and then perfect. The bee company like appears finally out of the orchard, and like it just like all happens exactly as you'd want it to write it in the script for the good guys to win, for Maine to win. But anyway, Tozier gets done with the army. Because he was part of the 2nd.
Yep.
So he was supposed to be done with the war a year and a half earlier than that. Then they re-enlisted him.
I heard the governor say, "Keep fighting." Yep.
Yeah. I mean, there was almost like the 20th almost didn't happen. Like Chamberlain was brought in to quell. Because he was very much a people person.
Yes.
To quell kind of the unrest, because most of the people wanted to desert because they were told they could go home, and then the governor of Maine told them they had to
stay.
Yeah, they were like, we're dissolving this company, but we're re-enlisting you into another company. So kind of brutal, and they'd seen a lot of the war. But anyway, so Tozier is like the story of many American veterans is kind of abandoned by the government after he's done serving, and he becomes a cattle rustler. So he's stealing cattle with his cousin in Lewiston and driving him up to Augusta.
Oh,
gets
really?
caught, thrown in prison.
No.
Thrown in prison. And then Chamberlain, like a little while later, Chamberlain is governor of the state and learns that Andrew Tozier is in prison. So he pardons him and he moves him into the Blaine house. And
was that where Chamberlain was living?
Yeah, and in Augusta. I mean, he's governor, so he's living in the
the Blaine house. Okay, yeah.
I can't. Well, I can't imagine it was called the Blaine House at the time.
Sure,
right?
sure.
The governor's mansion.
Governor's
Yeah,
mansion,
yeah.
not the event venue, but the actual one where the governor lives. Yeah.
Because Blaine would have been a senator at this time, right? Yeah, I think so. But another really interesting Maine dude. But anyway, Chamberlain's wife teaches Andrew how to read.
Oh,
and
wow.
He moves back to Litchfield, gets married, has a ton of kids, and kind of kickstarts that community. And there's a bunch of stuff named after him now. So
Sure is.
it's like
That's
a cool,
super cool.
Yeah, this really cool story with a good ending, which is nice.
Yeah, I feel like often people neglect Maine's involvement in the Civil War due to our kind of geological isolation from the Mason-Dixon line. But we were there. You know,
Yeah, very much. I mean, there is a very strong argument to be made that if the Battle of Little Round Top had not gone that way, the Union would have lost that war because there was no defenses between Gettysburg and DC. It would have been a straight march. For the Confederate forces. So have you ever been to Gettysburg?
I have not.
I would recommend it. It's
Yes.
really cool. It's a pretty powerful experience.
Yep.
The Little Round Top is on the where the eastern flank. I'm trying to remember.
Okay.
But anyway, so it's Little Round Top is on one of the flanks.
Yep.
So if they had lost that, it wouldn't have by holding Little Round Top, we forced Pickett's charge, which of course was like the death nail in the Southern Army. So
Wow.
like if they had not been forced to do Pickett's charge and like take that big risk, that didn't work out for them. They would have probably
Marched
overwhelmed
on DC and
all the Union forces because the Union threw everything at that.
Yeah.
And then they would have marched on DC and taken DC. So like, there's a strong argument to be made that like Maine, won the Civil War for the Union, and one company did.
Yeah.
Because of what they did. But there's a lot of factors.
And these stories are so important to Maine's history, and nobody thinks about that. And you and the other members of Ghost, with the Ballad of the 20th Maine, made sure that story stayed alive.
Yeah, I mean it's a great story. I want people to know about it. So
Yeah, that's really something. As a Mainer who's been here my entire life, and left and come back and have no interest in leaving, and a registered Maine guide.
Yeah.
It's so important to me that stories like that are part of the circulation. So thank you.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, thank you a lot. When I got my Maine guide license, first thing I did from DIFW's parking lot was I went into my car and put on the Ballad of 20th Maine.
That's awesome.
Like the first thing.
That's awesome.
I never thought that I'd be able to tell you that, and here we are.
Hey,
and I'm
there we
telling
go.
you that. It's funny that you mentioned the whole the senator grilling process. It very much reminds me of the Maine guide exam.
That's right here. That's right
Yes.
here. It's a bunch of people at a fold out table asking you very specific questions about funny things.
Yes, and they can ask you anything ranging from the brood size of a ruffed grouse to the legal tire pressure of an ATV.
Yeah, which is that's the training for it, like the knowledge base that you need to have is an interesting thing because depending on who you get, it seems like it can be a breeze or it can be very difficult. So.
Yes, and it's very based on the testers. Some testers are very, very rigorous with it, and some testers are a little more blasé, depending on what you want to do. Yep. My first testing round, I did not pass, and that's just kind of how it goes.
What question they get you on?
Oh, it was what rivers...
That ATV tire pressure was very specific.
5 to 10 psi.
There you go.
Well, manufacturer specifications, but generally 5 to 10 psi.
Manufacturer specifications is a great way to answer that.
Well, yeah, but then they go, I answered that way, and they said, okay, but what would that be? And I'm like, oh, guys. Yeah. I think the question they got me on was, what rivers in Maine flow northward, which is the Allagash and the St. John, which both flow into the St. Lawrence.
They do, yeah.
And then it was also, they asked me a question about Roxanne Quimby.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it's like, I've been studying frogs and birds and turtles, and you're asking me questions about TMOs and REITs? Like what? So, yeah, it's a very big test, and they will ask you anything.
Well, yeah, and it's well known as one of the most rigorous in the country, which is cool.
And that's entirely due to how strict the testers are.
I mean, they gotta guard that 10% off at Ella Bean,
Do we get 10% off at Ella Bean?
Yes, there's a guide discount for Ella Bean.
What?
Come on, yeah.
How did I not know this?
I don't know. You're a guide. You should know.
I should know
It's supposed to
that.
come in the pamphlet.
I know. Have you ever heard of Maine Outdoor Learning School?
Yeah.
Yeah, Captain John runs a really incredible ship, and that's how I learned
Cool.
a lot of the stuff. So I definitely, if you are interested, I strongly recommend Maine Outdoor Learning. Maine Outdoor Learning. Then that's for anybody who listens to this.
Yeah.
Should you ever want to become a Maine guide, that's the way to do it.
There you go.
Or you can study on your own, which is very, very rigorous. Anyways, another thing I really admire about you is that how diverse the venues you play at are. You are equally at home playing in. Have you played in Ouray, Colorado?
Yeah, Ouray. Yeah,
Ouray.
Yeah.
Excuse me. And
I'm about to.
Yeah, you're about to play in Ouray, Colorado.
I'm going to be there in 2 weeks. So.
Yeah, and then you'll also play at
Ouray's beautiful. Jeez.
Yeah. And then you'll also play at like Johnson Hall in Gardner.
Oh yeah. I mean, Ghost got to start there playing in downstairs, and my band played there upstairs a little bit ago. It sounds great. All the work they did is incredible. So Mike and everybody there.
So what draws you home and keeps you performing in these small venues for folks like us when you could be above and beyond?
Well, that's very nice of you to say. I think that I always try to take advantage of the fact that I have the ability to play in different situations like that. So like
totally,
we have a band that's crushes and does really well in festival stages and in bars, and then also I can play with just my acoustic guitar in a listening room, and play a set like that. And I think that you can kind of vary the experience, and that allows you to play more and more, and that's the ultimate goal.
Nice. So, do you get a lot of people that ask you about when is Ghost going to reform?
Oh, sure. Sure. Yeah. I mean, like, less now.
Totally.
Less now that we have something on the books. But, for a while, I think it was it's not, I think people had a lot of questions. It was for the first year, it was mostly like, why'd you do it? And then the second, and then after that, it was like, when's it coming back? So,
yeah. How does that make you feel as you're actively pursuing like a solo career?
I think it's interesting. I just kind of was having this with another a Ghost fan that makes their presence known quite a bit.
Okay. Like a super fan?
Yeah, you could definitely say that. They we just did a kind of a pop-up surprise with Ghost with Max and Sean. I asked if they wanted to jump in on one of the GWS shows just for fun, because we're trying to get everybody back on stage and make that as comfortable and smooth as possible. And it's been 4 years, so
sure.
But the fan was kind of just like, you gotta feel like it's different, right? It's different having the Ghost back. It feels, and you're just like, man, you're just like so out of touch. Like I think my answer to him was like, well, nostalgia does a lot of heavy lifting, which is true.
Yep.
Like I love and care for that band, and always will. Like Max and Sean are dear friends, and like that's just like I love the music we make, hands down. There's no question.
Yeah.
But also like as musician and artist and human being, it's important for me to grow into something different and new.
Absolutely.
And I think there are quite a few people who aren't opening themselves up to like kind of experiencing how good this new band is, because it's some of the best players I've ever played with. Like
that's very true.
They're not going to open themselves up because they like can't imagine anything besides the Ghost. But like even then, like their memory of the Ghost is absolutely screwed, because they like think of it depends on when you saw the Ghost. Depends on like, I don't know which Ghost you're thinking of, because like you think
which
about
one is it? Yeah,
you think about the original 4, with Matt Young on harmonica, or even back farther when we were 5-piece when we first started out. You thinking about us with Ben Cosgrove. You thinking about us with Chuck Gagne or Jackson Kinchelow, or like which Ghost are you talking about?
The Ghost was constantly evolving.
It was always so the like. This desire to have that band back, I'm always just kind of like, well, which band do you mean? Because we changed a lot over the years, and like, I think they just mean the three of us singing together, which is like, I get it. It's a special thing. It truly is. We were, it comes from a lifetime of friendship that we're able to sing that way together and so effortlessly.
Yeah. The rapport is there. The chemistry is there.
Yeah.
Yep.
But like also, one of the most brutal and honest truths about life is that you can't step in the same river twice. Right? So like that, whatever you're craving is never coming back.
Yep.
So like you should maybe just be open to new things.
Sure. Sure.
But like that being said, I'd certainly, didn't say I wouldn't do Ghostland again. So like,
Yeah.
I actively, I like playing as much music as possible. That's the
Of
thing.
course,
Is like, I
that's
just
what you
love
do.
playing music. So, so whatever band that's in,
Yeah.
that's how it's going to be. So
Sure. So your first album as a solo act was 100 Mile Wilderness, right?
yes. Yeah. I mean, yeah, if you don't count the little live EP that we did, but yeah.
Oh, you did a live EP too?
We did. So there's one, we recorded at Suntiki and we recorded the week before the final Ghostland. So,
Okay.
Because
Nice.
I'd written a bunch of those songs and was like, and asked my friends, McCrae and Chuck and Spencer if they would come in and learn songs on a Sunday, and we would do a pop-up show on Monday, and we had a fun little pop-up show, and we recorded it just for fun to see, and it came out good enough that we were like, let's put it out in the world, so I have some new songs.
Yep.
But yeah, so 100 Mile Wilderness is the first solo record, and we're just about to. I'm working on some new stuff at home, and we're just about to go in the studio for some new stuff. So,
Boy.
yeah.
So, fun fact about Suntiki. I was last podcast years old when I found out that that's not a tanning studio.
Yeah, right? Yeah. Oh, yeah. I love that Ian kept the name and the signage. I think it's dope, but yeah.
So, for folks that maybe are listening to this that aren't in the New England area, can you explain what the 100 Mile Wilderness is?
It is the last stretch of the Appalachian Trail if you're traveling northward.
Or the first if
or
you're
the first
traveling
if you're
southward.
It's like, sorry, but I don't know why you chose to do that way, but you can start on Katahdin and then go, seems kind of wild. But yeah, it is regarded as also one of the most difficult to traverse sections of the Appalachian Trail.
Yep.
And it is an area of just absolute pristine beauty in Maine that I love with all of my heart. I love being up there.
Have you been out there a lot?
I have, yeah.
Nice.
And but like not as like a through hiker, but as like like just trekking in from Kakajo or from the other side. And,
Yep.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's super cool.
I like going up there. I like going to Sadnahunk. I like spending time. Moose. I've spent years going up to Moosehead and
Moosehead. Oh, man.
messing around
Moosehead
the
is
woods,
So pretty.
Yeah. And that's stack dab in the middle of it. So
Yep.
that Gulf Haggis, all that. So like this is
Grand Canyon of Maine.
This is one of my favorite sections of the world up there. So
Yeah. Oh, that's super cool.
except for right now. Right now you'd get carried away, but
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, we're still in that odd season where it's like super, maybe even a little bit of snow up there still. I know Mount Washington just got snow.
I just saw that video. It's wild up there, but that's Maine. I'm as happy to see it still cold right now.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I actually used to live on Mount Washington, at Lakes of the Clouds, the AMC hut.
Yeah.
I used to work there, and I was up there during Hurricane Lee.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, and the wind was going 160 miles per hour.
No thanks.
Yeah, no thanks.
That must have been kind of fun to witness, though. It's one of those things where
I was leaning against a pane, and I could feel the glass bending behind me on my back, and I'm like, this is a problem. Like, this is a problem. And then we attempted to hike Mount Monroe, which was a bad idea. And we got hit with a wall of force that was the wind in a way that I can't even explain to somebody who hasn't experienced it. You go to like the malls and stuff, or maybe Old Orchard Beach, and they have like that hurricane simulator, and it's like an 80-mile-per-hour thing. Yeah, that's not it.
Yeah.
160, you're just falling over.
Yeah.
Wall of force.
That's so wild.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've never been in conditions like that. I mean, the cold, yes, but never that much wind for sure.
For sure. Yeah. When making 100 Mile Wilderness, did you feel a lot of pressure following the disbandment of Ghost, or was it just mostly business as usual for you?
I think that I wanted to get music out quickly, which didn't necessarily happen. But like,
Sure.
I did need the stars aligned on that record in a way that it took time. But like, I'm happy it did. But there wasn't really, I honestly didn't feel like I had to live up to anything, right?
Good.
I just wanted to write music and just make music. And
Yeah.
that record, like I got to go to Nashville and make that record with like some of the best people in the industry. And
Wow.
I'm very happy I got a chance to do that.
Yeah.
So, which is not something I'd like, never would have been, that never could have happened in Ghost. That was like, there wasn't a kind of atmosphere or the ability to like drop everything and pursue like any type of opportunity like that.
Yeah.
I essentially like, I worked with Eddie Scott, who's a producer, and he's awesome. And we've been talking for about a year about making a record, and then it's like, I think like a month before we made the record, he was just like, hey, I got 5 days. Like,
Let's do it.
Can you come to Nashville?
Wow.
I was like, absolutely. And like that would never have been possible in the Ghost of Paul Revere.
How much notice did you have?
It was about a month. I guess
a month before you had to go to Nashville?
Yeah.
Okay, so it wasn't like, hey, I got next week off. You want to come to Nashville? It's
I mean,
like,
yeah, but it
what?
could have been. It could have been, and I was ready for that to happen.
Which you wouldn't have been able to with Ghost.
No, absolutely not. No.
Sure.
And like that's how we got. That's how you find out about like late night. So like Conan was that, and a surprise that we made. Ghost was able to make that happen too, because like just tough. You're dealing with a bunch of people with different schedules and different personalities, and it can be really tough to prioritize creativity in your career sometimes over personal wants and needs. So
no doubt. Yeah, I mean, I've been having that even with this podcast. I have so many people on the docket, and it's just trying to fit them in different places. Mm-hmm. It's been a unique challenge, but I've really come to enjoy it.
Yeah.
Have you ever felt torn between art that speaks to Maine specifically versus art that speaks more universally? Because I noticed with 100 Mile Wilderness, and particularly Reflections and Our Town and Stevenstown, it's a lot more Maine-centric than any of your stuff on like Ghostland or Monarch. Yeah,
I mean, I think that well, to answer your question, no. I never have felt any type of pull between those two things.
Okay,
but I think that it became, Goodbye as a record are songs that were written in a very tumultuous time in my life and certainly for Ghost. Like we didn't realize that was going to be our last record, even though the writing was like literally on the wall for us. It was all there. We didn't realize it was going to be the last one though, until, the decision came to end the band and we already had a song on the record called Goodbye, and it was like, well, this is fitting.
Well, here we go.
It was just like, it's like Good at Losing Everything. It's like we wrote that record, and then all of a sudden the pandemic happened. It was like, well,
here
we
we are.
it correctly.
Yep.
So I think that it was just that I had, when all of the dust kind of settled, and I started writing that record kind of, a day or two after we internally decided the Ghost was going to be done. I had bought a house at that point. I was living, on my property in Central Maine, and I was thinking a lot more about what it means to be home and how much I appreciate it, kind of for the first time in my life. Like,
wow.
Or the first time in like, most of my music for a long time was just kind of like angsty love songs like that, just because it's,
it's
mid-20s, single,
don't I know
doing it. Whatever, like trying to figure out the world, and like that's the lens you're looking through the world. And all of a sudden, I was in a place that I was happy, and I was in a place that I loved, and it started to come into the writing. I mean, it naturally came into the writing. So it wasn't a conscious choice to kind of push Maine forward, but just to write about what I was into at the time, and that happened to be a lot about Maine. I think that more times the conflict comes into whether or not to do things that are political or not regional specific. Because I found that like even like 20th, like that resonates with a lot of people who have never been to Maine. Yeah. So like I don't necessarily think that I think that writing from an experience of loving the state and living in the state for my entire life, I think does translate pretty easily to people from not around here.
Flatlanders.
But those Flatlanders.
That's what they call them.
Oh yeah.
I almost think that whole thing's a little bit of a caricature.
I love it so much. For sure it is. But there's something about keep Maine for Mainers, right? That like that mentality. There's something
that's been a very Maine mentality for so long.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, since we left Massachusetts. But I think that there are both very quaint and wonderful things about that sentiment. And there are also some pretty dark things that we have to wrestle with about that sentiment. I can't say that I don't fall into like that idea of like I love my community, and when I see a red, blue, and white license plate on a car, I get the hair raises a little bit on the back of my neck. I'm like, where you going? What are you doing here?
What are you doing here?
Why are you coming to a second house you own here? But
I absolutely feel that.
Yeah. So no, it's more like political, because I think that I've gotten a lot more comfortable writing political songs over the years, and I think that it's a uniquely very important time to sing political songs. But also I have noticed that I've gotten much more pushback at shows and stuff.
Oh, totally.
So,
no
which
doubt.
is interesting.
No doubt. I mean, no doubt. I'd imagine, 20th of Maine, where they were like, is this too hard of the Confederacy? It's like, we beat the Confederacy. It is too hard.
You're complaining about something that like lasted less than the television show Friends, So like maybe take it a little easy. I get it was important to you, but it's like, but also like, how many Confederate flags have you seen in growing up in Maine on people's houses?
And it's like, why? You are
because
so
they're morons.
far north of
I just like I have no patience for it. It conveys such a lack of basic knowledge, human decency, and understanding, and the fact that like you want to get into the history of all that stuff and talk about how like truly it's a flag that was was a cavalry unit from Virginia. That flag never was actually the flag of the Confederacy and pushed by the Sisters of the Confederacy in the 1920s when people were trying to reinforce Jim Crow laws. Like there's like you want to look at it's when you fly that flag, especially in Maine, it just shows me that you are ignorant.
Sure.
Like you just lack a basic knowledge of U.S. history and like so the like it's wild right now because it's so there's no tepid feelings in the world right now. Everybody is turned up to 11, and I think. And I'm sure that anybody would say this, but I can't help but think that my point of view like is coming at it from very good reason, kind of clawing back human dignity and rights for everybody. But it's been interesting to see kind of that pushback from people who just like, I've got several strongly worded emails about stuff like that where it's just like fans who is another thing I've never understood that I always am very prompt in my response and very thorough in my response to them, and it usually they kind of just like pee their pants a bit and then apologize and never talk to me again. But this idea that a fan can dictate the actions of an artist, or that like an artist shouldn't do something because that like they shouldn't sing about a topic because like it offends one person in the audience, or like that like don't sing political song. Why can't you just sing your songs? Why do you have to be political?
Why can't you just stay in your lane?
Yeah, exactly. It is just like if you I write all of this music from my own point of view.
Yeah.
So I would expect that most people who listen to this music might understand my point of view when I express it, and to ask me not to express that point of view, you're and then you still want to hold on to this art. You don't get that. And you also don't get to say that shit to me whenever you want. Like, sorry, but like even if you're doing it cowardly through an email because you won't do it in person, like still I'm gonna clap back real hard.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm telling you never to come to a show again, which I do.
Wow, have you've done that?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, listen, I don't think you need an audience, but you don't need an audience that badly, right?
If you don't respect the artist, you should not be consuming their art.
And like you're rude to me, or you're rude to other people that come to concerts and stuff, and we don't need you at the show. This is a place for people who like want to enjoy music and have a communal experience together and want to be kind. Like it's not for you if you don't want to be kind.
Kindness. Lead all interactions with kindness. Yeah. Yep. For sure. So you get a bunch of like strongly worded emails, and then you just go, "Hey, so would you like to be on my podcast?"
It was such a breath of fresh air. No, I got some of those too.
Yeah, awesome.
No, it's the strongly worded emails don't come in too. One of my favorite one. I always meant to print it out in a T-shirt.
No way. Can I get this T-shirt when you do it?
Yeah, I will. It was a Ghost one from way back. The first time we ever played the Strand, we got an email from some gray hair that was just livid with the fact that there were people in the aisles dancing and drunk at the show. And there were sections that were in bold, there were sections that were different colors.
Wow, they put effort into it.
They put so much effort into it. And the tagline of the email and essentially the theme of the email is that like, we fed the bears, is what his saying was. Like, we encouraged these people to get up and dance and ruin his show.
Oh my God.
I wanted to put it on a T-shirt so bad, the whole email, just put him on blast because it was so funny. It's just like, dude, I like as an artist on stage, like, there's not much you can do. Like, I'm not going to tell people to sit down when they're enjoying themselves, but
they're
like,
just having fun.
They got a problem with the venue, not with us, first off, but like, also like, okay, like, I don't know, move seats or like just try to have fun. I don't.
How about you get up and dance yourself?
Exactly. So it's a lot of it's emails from people. It's those are the people that usually reach out. Those people you're just like, huh? Like I would never do that in a million years.
Really, dude?
If I had a problem with that, I'd probably just walk out of the venue and be like, nah, that wasn't my favorite way to see a show, but whatever.
Yeah, really.
That's it.
I cannot believe that. But, yeah. So when you do make that a T-shirt, I'm a size small, please.
Okay,
like,
I got you. Yeah.
Oh man. Wow. Yeah. Going back to the Maine experience, I feel like Mainers, as a general populace, are very rooted people. Mm-hmm. They embody homeliness and staying connected to your roots. Mm-hmm. Did you find that as you ventured beyond Maine and began playing in other states such as Nashville or Colorado or where else have you played? You played at
the only state I have not played music in, the only states are North Dakota, Alaska, and Hawaii. Those are the only ones. I've played shows in every other state.
Wow.
So
what?
I haven't played in Puerto Rico, but
okay, sure.
No territories. Haven't been to Guam. Haven't been to Puerto
American
Rico.
Samoa.
Haven't been to American Samoa.
Yeah. Wow.
But I played in all the other ones. But,
wow.
Yeah.
Oh wow, that's incredible. Did you find that people in those states embraced your ambition a little bit more than like the typical rooted Mainers, or have Mainers always had your back?
I think people in other states are more apt to dance. For sure.
Sure. Yeah.
There's a really great.
Dance is so important.
There's a really great Samuel Clemens story about that. About he was on a book tour and he was doing. This might be just a tall tale, but he was doing one of his shows here in Maine and one of his book tour shows in the 1800s, and it had been killing everywhere else, and he did it for a town hall here in Maine, and no one had any response to him.
Sounds about right.
And he walked out and was smoking a pipe around the corner, wondering why the show went so poorly. And then the audience started streaming out of the venue saying it was the best thing they'd ever seen. It was like, yeah,
that's such a Maine story.
it's like, yeah, but I know that about our, my people and our people, and that's who they are, and that's who I am too. I'm the first one to stand next to a soundboard with my arms crossed at a show, which is terrible because I hate those people. But I also am I'm actively trying to listen.
Embracing it, embracing the art, not openly.
I'm a standstiller at a concert venue for sure. But
sure.
I think that one of the benefits of and virtues of travel, which I try to encourage everyone to get out and do a lot of traveling. It's like you just kind of realize that everybody is very similar.
Really,
that there are, and maybe it's just because we were playing our music for our fans and pockets of people that had similar ideas and ideals, but I found that in general, most people we met around the country were very kind and accommodating and
very good,
friendly and communal, and that was a joy to see, because I think if you don't leave the place where you're from, you begin to have a pretty big fear of the outside world.
That's true.
Yeah.
Here's a random question. Do you go to Hearts of Pine games? I feel like, aren't you? Yeah, you're like.
I mean, I've been to a Hearts of Pine match.
Yep.
I'm almost always on tour when they're playing.
Sure.
I don't get a chance to see them very often, but yeah.
Yeah, because I know they shouted you out on their Instagram, and I think they have the flags that say
I'm in the book.
Fast.
Yep. Yeah. They've really glommed on to 20th.
Yep.
I got to be in the Hearts of Pine book and do a bunch of stuff, and the team goes out on the fields to Ballad every time.
Oh my goodness.
That's their entry song, which is really cool. Which I had nothing to do with it; just happened naturally, and people started telling me they're playing ghost songs at these Hearts of Pine matches, and I was like, "That's cool,
cool."
So we have some fun things ahead, I think, with them that we're working on. So,
okay.
But yeah, I love. It's so inspiring to see a new community grow in Portland that people are so intensely,
I agree.
And also meet people from outside of the state who are also now huge fans that are just like, I want to be a part of this thing that's happening. So
yeah, Hearts of Pine, and I've talked to guests about Hearts of Pine before. Hearts of Pine is they really have something special going. They've created this new community around football, soccer, whichever one you'd like to call it, that creates a shared community that Portland, when I was younger, had, right? And then kind of as the pandemic happened and, people started drifting and, I think got a lot lonelier. And then Hearts of Pine, through sport, brought that back, which I think is really beautiful. At the same time, they managed to capture the aspects of Maine that make it Maine. It's so fascinating how they do it. Because
the care. I mean, it's like...
Yes.
At its most fundamental and elemental level, what is a Mainer besides someone who really cares?
Yeah, I agree with that.
And I think that's what they're doing right. It's like they're listening to people and they're caring, and they have a great design team.
I agree.
The aesthetic is on point.
Yep, I agree. I
keep telling them as soon as they make a kit that is a brook trout, take all my money.
Yeah, take all
my money.
Yeah, I agree with that. Or like a Ghost of Paul Revere kit would be crazy.
Yeah. Well, we'll see.
Or Griffin William Sherry kid. I know if you're listening to this, I got a chance to meet the marketing manager, Christy, and Christy's such a vivacious person. She's incredible, and she has so much passion for it. And I think that that's going to lead the Hearts of Pine so very far.
Yeah,
as well as the Ballad of the 20th of Maine.
Yeah, well, I mean, just in general, the whole ethos of that whole community and team and office is, I think that's why they're doing so well.
So
right?
beautiful,
and that's why they've gotten so much attention internationally.
Yeah,
too,
absolutely. It's so beautiful.
I think it's going to be fun when we fondly look back at the days when you could go see a match at Fitzy and not in the new whatever Enormo Dome that they're going to build.
Yeah, well, I mean, man, and that's the thing about Portland too is it's constantly being built up by outside forces.
I mean, I think it would be. I say that in jest. Like I think it would be incredible for them to have a legit stadium that's not the same field that I played football on in high school.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
I think it's important that they have that, but I just mean that Portland. Here's the problem with Mainers, right? And Portland in general as a town is that we are in constant embattlement between preservation and growth.
Oh,
right?
yes.
And I think that's instilled in us because of the environment we live in, right? Like that's kind of Maine in general. It's like
absolutely
you have an
frozen in time.
You have an ecosystem that is constantly trying to conserve while also trying to grow, and there are a lot of growing pains in that. I think that Portland's in an interesting time right now, where hopefully it's going to everything pendulums back, right? So hopefully the outside influence quiets down and becomes locals take things over and grow it locally a little bit more than has been happening in the last 10 years. But,
I'd agree with that. Yeah, I think that Maine is very much a place that's almost got a mysticism to it, and it's just frozen in time. I mean, you look at. I think Registered Maine Guides are a great example of this. You look at them; they're carrying the pack baskets. They have the giant bean boots. It's a profession frozen in time.
Yep.
In some cases, and I think that Maine is slower to embrace change than the rest of the United States, for sure.
Yeah.
Do you feel pressure to remain recognizable as an artist with your work to the community that you grew up in?
That's a great question.
Thank you.
I don't. I think that I do. The pressure would be to feel relevant, right? Is to continually want to be in a place where people want to come see you play your music, and you're not just doing the same thing, right? Yep. You don't want to turn into who did the fountain there? Duchamp. He did one incredibly influential piece of art, and then he sold trinkets of it for the rest of his life. That kind of idea.
Yep.
Or Monk, who did the Scream. Same thing. He spent the rest of his life painting that painting.
Exactly.
You don't want to do that with your life. I don't, at least. I want to just be creating and pursuing that.
And growing. Yeah.
So you want to stay relevant enough so you still can afford to live a life as an artist, which can be tough. But also at the same time, I don't think that anyone has any interest in an artist that doesn't grow, right? It's all of the best artists who have the longest careers, with probably the exception of the Rolling Stones, they have all gone through some fundamentally drastic artistic changes in their careers, and I think that's part of the journey. If you love a musician or an artist, you want to see where they go, and an audience trusts them more than I think most people give it credit for.
Absolutely.
To go pursue different things. So.
Yeah. So as you embrace your solo career, how do you know that you're being true to yourself versus being loyal to an older version of yourself,
right?
Like in The Ghost.
That's the $1 million question, right?
Yes.
I just try to, speak with the purest version of myself and heart that I can, and I did try to do that in The Ghost too. So that helps. There was never I never felt like I had to put on a facade to do it. And the times that I did do that on records with songs, and I can think of a couple songs that I would put those in that category, I don't think they worked. I think the songs that people care about and they still want to listen to are the ones where I was just being myself and didn't think about it. So that's the hardest thing, is to get out of your own way. But if you can do that, then yeah, I think that no matter what name slapped on it, even if I was writing for other people, that's it's still. The song just has to be good. That's it.
Absolutely. So I want to end on a very a very philosophical question that I really want your opinion on. What makes somebody belong somewhere?
Oh, that's a great question as well. I mean, my first answer would be community, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
A community gives belonging.
I couldn't agree more.
Can you belong while isolated? I also would make an argument for, because like as a person who needs isolation on a fairly routine basis,
And that's your travel.
that's my travel. It's also just like, when I'm home for a little bit, I need to go out into the woods by myself and spend a couple nights and do whatever and
Recharge
recharged. And like, if I don't, it really starts to show on the outside of my skin. But I think that you can also, but also like that, that is the ecosystem of community. I think that like, I think to belong, somewhere just means that you are no longer, nervous in your own skin.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's really awesome.
Yeah.
Well, that's I usually like to end my podcasts with a bit of a funny question just to kind of wrap it all up. And the one I came up with for you, I had to really think about it. The first thing I was like, who would win in a race? Would it be Paul Revere or Secretariat or Seabiscuit? And I was like, that's not really that good of a question.
Brownie was the name of the horse, but yeah.
Brownie was
Paul Revere's horse.
Paul Revere's horse. Brownie
for
Secretariat.
the Midnight Ride.
Okay.
Specifically.
Okay.
I mean, one of my favorite things about the Midnight Ride is that Paul Revere was the only one who got caught. So like,
whoops. And that's why he's
there were like people who did it much better than him, and he just happened to get drunk and caught. And I think that he also failed.
Wait, he was drunk when he did it?
Oh yeah, he drank at every pub he stopped at.
Man.
I mean, listen. He captured by the British, tried to flee and tried to desert the Revolutionary Army in Maine here. At Battle of Penobscot. So he just like a Paul Revere, if you really look at his history, is kind of just like a guy who was in the right place
at the right
time with exactly the wrong mentality. Like this is kind of always just like grabbing things and trying to run. Like and I find it very funny and like also there's a message behind it, which is important. But
totally.
Yeah.
So the question I came up with is say you, Griffin, are appointed the king, even though New England, especially, we do not like kings.
Yeah.
Not at all.
The North needs no king. The North has no king.
We need no king. Absolutely. But say Griffin William Sherry is appointed the king of Maine for 24 hours. What is the first entirely unnecessary law that you create?
Oh, boy. That's that no one else can be king. This is the best one.
Absolute
specifically Spose can't, and he's already claimed that title. Can't have it back. I think that's I would make it mandatory for everyone to spend a week outdoors every year.
Okay,
would be my mandatory thing, or to be given a fly rod at birth.
Given a fly rod in an LL Bean flannel.
It's like, how many people live in the state of Maine and don't actually experience the like true wilderness of Maine? Like,
absolutely.
I think a shame. I think if people had to, everybody be a little bit more patient and a little bit more kind and maybe a little bit more understanding of the world at large. But
so I think I know the answer to this now that you've asked it. But what part or region of the state immediately revolts in response to that law?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely Kennebunk. Kennebunkport and Cape Elizabeth for sure.
Cape Elizabeth and Kennebunkport.
I mean, I think
exactly
that you can picture the person. They definitely have on a shirt underneath their polo.
Yes.
And I'm sure own a boat.
Yeah, they own a very nice boat too.
Mm-hmm.
It's not
they never use. They
it's
never
not your
use.
bass
They
boat.
pay for it to be at the dock and then cleaned every year, but they go out on it once a year. But like, it's no skiff, it's no Boston whaler, it's no inflatable.
Yeah.
It is a very nice white boat that they don't use for sure.
And they're the ones that what do you mean I have to use my boat more?
They've got several golden doodles. We know the type of people.
We do.
We know the type of people.
Yep.
Everybody else would be down. I mean, that's the thing about Maine is like for the vast majority of people who live here, they're wonderful.
Yep.
So
awesome. So we talked about a lot. We talked about the Ghost of Paul Revere.
Half of it's usable,
I would say all of it's usable. This has been incredible having you
podcast,
in the studio. It's actually only been like an hour and a half.
Look at us go.
And we're doing so good. We talked about the Ballad of 20th and Maine. We talked about so much. And Griffin, again, thank you so much for being here.
Oh, pleasure to be here, man. Thanks for inviting me to have a conversation.
Thank you. You were literally a Hail Mary in terms of like inviting people on the podcast.
Here's a good lesson to end on, right? Is like just like take a shot, right?
I did.
I think most people, and I'm not saying I'm a person who's tough to get a hold of at all. Quite the opposite. But like I think that most people, one thing the music industry has taught me is that like a vast majority of people, all you have to do is like just say hey.
Yeah.
And they'll respond way easier than you think they're going to. So like,
yeah,
there's not as much of a wall. There are some, but like there's not as much.
No, and I was absolutely blown away. And I also want to end with a shout out to Brant and Cochran.
Hey, I'm wearing the hat
I
right
see
now.
the hat. You've been
I love
wearing
those
the
guys,
hat.
man. They're awesome.
They have some really good Hudson Bay axes, and I've always wanted to get my hand on a Brant and Cochran.
Have you had them in here?
I have not. I'd love to.
I can't. I think I have their numbers on my phone, but you can also just email them because, like, the super down to earth, and then like I'm sure they'll give you a tour of the facility, which is super rad.
Neat. If anybody who is listening to this is in Brandon Cochran, I want you on my podcast. Please come on my podcast.
We had a pod was going to do a podcast once a long time ago. We were debating doing a podcast, and it was going to be called Outdoors-ish, which is like just like about people who love the outdoors but like are not trained professionals. One of the first interviews we did was with Brant and Cochran, and we went to the shop and like they took us through the whole process and stuff, and we sat down to have a conversation, and we ended up just like drinking a bunch of whiskey together, and none of it was usable.
Hell yeah, that's the way podcasts should be. Yeah,
that's how I knew I liked those guys before then, but I was like, oh, we're on this. We're doing well.
Maine is the way life should be, and outdoors is the way podcasts should be.
Yeah, right. I was going to say not coming out, but that's
it's not usable, but it's beautiful.
Yep, exactly. Have conversations. You're just having conversations with no
filter. Yep. Yeah. All right, Griffin. Thank you so much.
Thanks,
thank you, and everybody who's listening. Thank you so much for listening. And as always, stay weird, Portland. Hey.